Okay, guys, we're going to give it just a few more minutes and we'll get started. Why don't we go ahead and get started? Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Ray Deal. I'm one of the account executives on the team here at Intellective, and I'll be walking you through the beginning of the webinar. Joining me today is Andrew Shore.
So, hi Ray, turn on my video and say hi to everybody. How's it going? So I'm Andrew Shore. I'm the solutions manager at Intellective. I'm based in sunny Los Angeles, which is actually sunny today, which is nice. I've been working in enterprise content management and business process management for about 16 years.
Thank you, Andrew. Next slide. So the notion of digital transformation is really nothing new for most organizations and most brands. All of us have been dealing with some form of digital transformation for at least 3 to 5 years, depending on the organization. Next slide. But with the advent of COVID, obviously digital transformation is happening for a lot of organizations at warp speed. You know, the COVID has accelerated these changes that actually been happening for a while, but a lot of ways we do business now and interact has changed. You know, meeting from in person has gone more to web meetings, team meetings, et cetera. You know, our communication with our coworkers and our customers has changed drastically. Working with physical content has been changed by almost everything being digitized. So the way businesses are doing their normal day-to-day types of activities has changed across almost all business units, right? Core business processes have been changing drastically. Collaboration is getting more difficult and challenging. We're struggling to meet our customers' needs and have been in this vastly changing world. Next slide. So what are some reactions we're seeing from our customers with this? Is, you know, content creation is nothing new, right? As a reaction, as part of our normal day-to-day business. But how the explosion of unstructured content is happening as a result is hard to keep up with, all right? There's a lot of disparate systems that are being created, and they don't necessarily communicate. The creation of new processes happening because we're having to modify our behavior as an organization. But with that, as a result, processes can become inefficient, not properly thought out. We're also seeing a lot of portals created on the fly for internal use and external use with our customers, and that leads to risk and compliance issues for an organization. Basically, as a reaction, we're doing more with less, and this ultimately can lead to employee and customer frustration. Next slide. I think Amit at Google said it pretty well, is think of digital transformation as less of a technology project, but a state of perpetual agility, right? This is something we're dealing with in the past. It's an accelerated version of that for most of our organizations we deal with now. But as long as you're heading down that path and making the change, absorbing what's coming forth and how to deal with that is the key. Next slide. How are most of our customers working through this change, right? They're looking to unify the fragmented view of content, right? They want to centralize that view, a 360 view of that information from multiple repositories. They want to also focus on their core business, but at the same time, absorbing that change, right? The day-to-day task of the organization needs to keep moving forward, but they also need to be changing at the same time. So they start to look at innovative tools, platforms, solutions that increase that ability for agility, but also don't necessarily mean long development cycles. Next slide. So the solution we're going to be sharing with you today, and Andrew's going to walk through for you, is Intellective's Unity. And it's basically an integration platform, right? It allows your business users to view, transact on data, content, all in one place, regardless of the source. As you can see on the wheel slide on the right, we're indifferent of the content repository. So what it does provide as a solution is really a 360 view of your enterprise data from, as I said, multiple locations, right? We give advanced document management and case management and task processing as part of this solution, and Andrew's going to walk through that for you, as well as enhanced user engagement and productivity, right? Improved KPIs. We allow for informed business decisions to be based now on all your enterprise information. And we also provide an interactive, customizable analytics dashboard for all of your business data. And Andrew will walk through that for you. Next slide. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Andrew. He's going to walk you through Intellective's Unity. Andrew?
All right, thanks, Ray. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, so Ray talked about meeting the challenge of digital transformation that's happening at speed. This need to unify our fragmented view of the world, the need for innovation tools to help us be proactive. And we feel that Unity is our solution to those challenges. So let's talk about Unity. We say Unity gives you this seamless, rich contextual view, this 360 view. What does that look like? What applications can I see that from? What problems can I solve with it? So one scenario, so Unity works with CRMs and business applications, which you heard earlier. Let's start with Salesforce. Let's start with the biggest market leading currently CRM and app platform, which we are tightly integrated with. So let's actually dive in and take a look at our integration with Salesforce. So here I am on Salesforce. Now, your users often use Salesforce to manage customers. So supporting phone calls, picking up the phone, talking to customers, dealing with sales leads, tracking, managing the sales process, relationship management, answering questions, building and maintaining relationships with vendors and customers. So let's walk through kind of what that looks like with Unity in the picture. So I'm going to go ahead and open this Burlington Textiles account. So so far this is just fairly standard Salesforce. Now, when I'm in Salesforce, I have a picture of information about this account, but often I'm missing critical information. So I have my kind of related entities. I have some details about this account, but I don't have records that live in my enterprise content management system, and maybe they live there because of governance needs. I don't have immediate access to customer documents that live in Box. So maybe Ray mentioned this kind of explosion of portals and new tools to interact with customers now that everyone is essentially working from home. Box is one of those. So maybe I stood up Box as a portal to be able to exchange documents with customers. Maybe I store internal documents, spreadsheets, stuff related to, in this case, this is an insurance demo. So maybe this is related to underwriting, something like that. Documents that are stored and collaborated with in SharePoint. So I want to have access to all that information. But typically I'd have to go look at different systems to get that. I'd have to log into SharePoint or go to my email or look at Box to find that information. With Unity, we show that information right from within my account. So right now you're looking at a standard out-of-the-box Salesforce screens, but there's a couple additional tabs here. So let's go to the Documents tab. This is what we call Unity for Salesforce. This is Unity integrated into Salesforce. It looks like a normal Salesforce screen. It's built in the Lightning components that a lot of Salesforce users are familiar with. But all the information shown on this page is coming from my underlying repositories. And what this is showing me is all documents related to Burlington Textiles, no matter where they live in my enterprise systems. They could live in FileNet, Alfresco. You can see I've exposed this column here to show kind of where they come from. Box, SharePoint, any of our connectors. But it's showing me them in one place without me needing to know what system they live in, without me needing to go to my different systems to find these documents. If I want to filter down and find documents related to, let's say I'm on the phone with Burlington Textiles and they have a question about their fleet of vehicles. So I type in fleet into this document title search, and it's going to pull back everything that has the word fleet in it. Whether it lives in FileNet, whether it lives in Box, whether it lives in another IBM repository, it's searching across all of them, and it's bringing me back only the right results that are relevant to this particular context. Now, I can do anything that I would normally want to do with documents. I can view properties about them, metadata that's stored in my repository, no matter what repository that is. I can do a lot of actions like download. I can check out or make new versions. I can view the document itself. So if I want to see what this fleet program PDF looks like, I hit view and it retrieves it from that repository and shows it to me right from here. So what does Unity really give me here? So it's giving me a true enterprise search across all these repositories. It's seamless across my systems, but it's also in the right context. I didn't have to go anywhere. I'm on the page I would normally be on when I'm on the phone with Burlington Textiles, and all the information I need is right there. It's immediately relevant. All I have to do is click to open what I want to see. So what's the benefit of that? Well, my users are able to make smarter decisions. They have all the information at their fingertips. I can get better customer outcomes because I'm not putting them on hold and going to go find another document, or maybe forwarding a question to another department because another department has access to a system that I don't have access to. I'm able to answer questions, do what I want to do right from here, and that drives faster, better customer outcomes. So this is just one example that you'll see today of how Unity solves this the digital transformation challenge. So in this case, we're turning this fragmented view that Ray was talking about into a true 360 view of all the information that I care about. And we're able to respond quickly to changing needs. I'm able to create this integration, stand up this page that's within Salesforce. I'm able to make changes to it quickly. And we'll talk more about that later. So let's see another example. Let's talk about Microsoft Dynamics. So Microsoft Dynamics 365, it's essentially Microsoft's platform, very similar to Salesforce if you haven't used it before. It's another really popular CRM platform. And I can get that same 360-degree view I was just talking about from Dynamics, the same thing I have in Salesforce, or they're the same thing in other CRMs. So let's, I'm in the Dynamics 365 Sales Hub, so it's kind of the equivalent to what we saw in Salesforce. I'll open a different customer this time. I'll do P&J Construction. And you'll see this is a CRM, so it's a similar view. It's a lot of similar information. And it has similar limitations in that I only see data that lives within this CRM. I don't see my ECM documents. I don't see my Box or SharePoint or other repositories unless I'm using Unity. So I click on this Documents tab. It's going to refresh my screen. And again, I'm looking at Unity now, embedded within the context of Dynamics 365. And this is showing me, similarly, a view of all documents that are relevant to P&J Construction. I can filter. So I'll look for P&J's fleet documents in this case. I can interact with these documents. I can look at properties for them. I can take action on them. So it's the same capability, but I'm showing it from within a different CRM. And it's the same documents. So these are the same underlying repository. So I now have two different applications, two different CRMs that are feeding off of the same underlying enterprise repositories. So I can have multiple communities of users. I can have different business departments. I can have different business applications. And I can configure a view that's relevant to each of those user communities using configuration, not code. And they can work with the same enterprise content, or they can work with the view that makes sense to them of my underlying enterprise systems. And this is a question we often get on showing this. So this is not just limited to accounts. I'm showing accounts because that's a use case that we see with customers a lot. But I can insert or embed this 360 view of information into any of the entities or any of the pages that are in my CRMs or my business applications. So if I want to associate documents with a particular opportunity, or with maybe some competitor information, or with how Dynamics does tasks, I can assign or associate this embedded view with those tasks. So I can put this information anywhere within my CRMs or my business applications. So I've talked a lot about CRMs. I've shown you two main CRMs that are on the market. We do more than just CRM. So what about low-code app platforms like Power Apps? So let's say I've, again, in response to smaller budgets, but I still need to do these digital transformation activities, I've invested in a tool set for low-code, no-code app development. Power Apps does this. There's a lot of other tools out there, Appian and some others. Can I use Unity with these? Can I get benefit from this Unity integration? Well, remember, this is a platform. Like, Unity is an integration platform. So let's take a quick look at what that might look like. So I'm on my platform here. So I'm going to go and find. Let's see. Let's go ahead and look at what a Power Apps application might look like. So I'm going to go switch over to a different application. So we were looking at a standard Sales Hub Dynamics CRM. But let's say I built my own Power Apps application. I've built this hypothetical insurance management portal. Maybe this gives my underwriters a collection of different functionality. So I can work on rating models, I can do underwriting, I can do document generation for policies and that sort of thing. But if you look, I've created this kind of claim analytics section. And from within there, I can see the same view, the same documents, content, process, data from my underlying repositories embedded into another context. So I could use Power Apps to just build an arbitrary application and then use Unity, my integration platform, to bring the right information to show in context within that Power Apps application. So low-code app platforms is something we work well with. What about custom business applications? So let's say I have again, a hypothetical insurance company. Let's say I have a claims processing application it's fully custom. It was built in-house. It's been around for years. Or let's say I have a legacy financial application, which I talk to a ton of customers who have this, where there's one big financial system that's been there for a long time that all other systems have to use, that's maybe on a mainframe, or maybe it's custom built, or it's something that is fairly old or fairly legacy and is harder to interact with. So can Unity work with these? Can I get the same view from there? The answer is absolutely. So this view, this page that you're looking at, and I'll dive into this a little bit more later, but there's different perspectives or dashboards that you can see from here. This is embeddable. This is something that I can put into my business applications, whatever platform they happen to be, however they're kind of architected. We integrate and work with a lot of different scenarios where we can put this capability within your business application, link it to your entities and your metadata so that you see what you want to see in context. Same thing for legacy applications, where we're constantly talking to customers who are looking to integrate on the back end with maybe a financial system that has an API, or maybe it has a services layer, or has ways of interacting with it through messaging, where we're able to interact with that system, pull that information, and bring it into this view so that you can have access to your financial data or your legacy document data or a database that has crucial information. So what if another scenario, what if I want to modernize my current application? So let's take that claims processing app. Maybe it's built on older technology. Maybe it's something where it doesn't meet the current demand of the business for speed and usability and integration capabilities. So Unity can be your UI. It can be your standalone UI for modernizing and building a new application. Previously, I've shown you Unity embedded within other applications, but Unity is an application and can be used that way. So I'm going to go ahead and open Unity as kind of a standalone UI. So on this other tab, I'll log in as a user. And you can see this is a full web-based application. I have different role-based settings. I have access to different tabs with different sets of data, and this is all stuff that Unity handles out of the box. But I can use this as a modern web application, as a basis around which to build and customize and modernize the new generation of applications that I want. So there's some basic standard functionality that's in here, the ability to work with documents, browsing for documents, working with cases, which we'll talk about in a second. And then if I go to this embedded tab, you'll see, you've seen the screen a couple times, that this is that same embedded functionality. So we're actually embedding capability of Unity, within the Unity UI. So you get, with Unity, our embeddable UI, you get the ability to have this true 360-degree view, advanced case processing, actionable analytics, all of these functionalities, and you can embed that into your application. So I talked about this a little bit, but really it's whatever application you happen to use, you can get this level of functionality tied into where you want to see it. So a good question to ask at this point would be, okay, great, this looks great. How much effort does this take? How much investment am I making in terms of time, money, effort to get this up and running and really see the benefit of it. As I've said a couple times, Intellective Unity is an integration platform. It's designed to be a platform. We're giving you tools so that you can respond quickly to these changing sets of needs that are in your business, that are out there in the market. So let's take the example I had earlier. Let's say you added Box or SharePoint repositories because those were the fastest way to give your users collaboration capabilities. We can merge those documents into your enterprise search together with your other maybe more enterprise content systems. We can merge that into one single enterprise search, and we can do it fast. Let's say you need to capture new metadata and keep it secure. So think COVID information, so contact tracing. A lot of organizations are creating new applications or capabilities for dealing with specifically COVID or pandemic-based use cases. A lot of them have additional information that we need that didn't exist before. A lot of that information is PII or medical related that needs to be kept secure. So we can merge that data into your 360-degree view. You can add new data, new sources of that data, merge it into your existing view, and you can do that fast. Your users maybe want new experiences, updated applications. We give you tools to design and deliver those applications, to change your current applications, and to do all that fast. Really, you need low-code, no-code tools to do a lot of this. It's just the standard in the industry now is to be fast, to be responsive. You can't wait 6 months to write a ton of code. So you need a platform that gives you tools that you can use visually to put together solutions for things. So one of the tool sets that we have in the Unity platform is what we call the configuration console. So it's a straightforward UI, and its intent is to be able to make changes fast. So let's pull up configuration console. It's the tab over here. So what I'm about to show you, this is basically where I can make the kinds of changes that I was just talking about. So if I want to add a new connector to a new repository, I can do that from here. I can say, okay, I have a new Box connector. I'll create that connector, enter in some address and services information, and connect it into my set of available sources. I can define what properties are used within my application. So something really interesting Unity can do is in transforming and harmonizing my data from different sources. So if I have customer number that's stored in FileNet, but it's called customer ID in Box and just customer in SharePoint, I can map all of those to a single field. I can harmonize them so that when my users are searching for customer number, they're just looking at one field called customer number, but it's searching these 3 totally different fields in totally different repositories. I can define what actions my users can do from the UI, what tabs are available, so I can mix and match which users see which interfaces from here. I can define a layer of security, so I can say who are my users who can see maybe business process management, and who are my users who can only see data from maybe these 2 or 3 repositories. So I like to think of this as it's our command center for change. It's simple tools that let you make most changes, like the 80% of changes that are simple to get going fast and deal with change. So if you need simple changes, if you want to respond to adding new repositories, changes to properties, get things to your users quickly, we provide that low code, no code end of the spectrum. If you need true custom solutions, let's say you need a full custom interface where you need it to meet a highly specific use case that's unique to you, or you need complex UI behavior that's what your users or your business cases demand. Unity is your platform for that too. We have a lot of tools to provide that level of customization. We have a full API layer that wraps all of your repositories, all of this transformed data, high performance search. Like, we have an API layer that gives you access to that. We have an extendable UI. So this embedded example tab that I've shown a couple times, you can heavily customize how this appears, what this does. You can embed different widgets and different screens within here. You can use our JavaScript objects that are available through Unity to work with data and use that data in new and interesting ways. And really, you can customize everything around it. So it's a use case that we actually work with a lot of customers where um, they don't just want this kind of simple, fast, basic ability to integrate. They also want the ability to truly modernize their apps, build new applications, and get exactly what they want from their user interface. And that's what Unity provides. So let's summarize. You just saw 4 or 5 different scenarios here where Unity can bring you that seamless, rich contextual view to your users, your CRMs, your business apps, your different ways of doing work, and you can do that fast. So let's take a look at our next section here. So a true enterprise view is great. There's a lot of value there. But that value, I think, is really multiplied when you can transact. So I'm not just viewing documents and knowing that they exist. I can add a document. I can modify a document. I can collaborate quickly on a document. I don't just see tasks or see a report of workloads. I can process things. I can reassign tasks. I can interact with how cases are getting created and how they're being processed. So that ability to transact is one of the things that really makes Unity as a platform unique. So let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to go to, let's say, Dynamics in this case. Now again, we work with multiple CRMs, multiple different scenarios, so I can do this from a variety of different places. But in this case, let's go to Customer Service Hub, let's say. So just another pillar of Dynamics 365. So this is more where I would be doing kind of customer service use cases. I'm going to go back to looking at an account here. Let's open up, let's say P&J Construction again, because they have the majority of interesting information we can show here. Okay, so previously on P&J, I showed you a true enterprise view of documents at my organization. Unity gives you that same rich contextual view for work, for cases, tasks, metadata related to cases and tasks, history of how things were processed. Really everything that users need to be able to find or be assigned and process work. So let's jump over to this In Baskets tab. So these 3 tabs are all added via the Unity integration. On the In Baskets tab, let's dive into what this looks like. Let's go to the claim review. So this is showing me a couple of different in baskets or queues of active work that's relevant for this particular customer. So in this case, again, this is a hypothetical insurance company. Let's say P&J has a pretty large set of claims that have previously been processed or that are in flight with us. So this is showing me those active cases, those active tasks. And these are all coming from my large-scale enterprise BPM repository. So these are enterprise workflows. These actually happen to live in IBM's FileNet platform. So I'm getting the full power of that underlying business process management platform. So in this case, FileNet has a lot of capability for rapidly building different processes, having different cases, having a really rich set of functionality for how their workflow works. I get all of that. And I can leverage that investment that I've made in that as an organization. I get it all right from Dynamics or from Salesforce or other business apps or my low-code, no-code platforms. So let's see a little bit of what that looks like. So I'm already, by default, this is already sorting by most recent. Let's say I'm on the phone with a Mr. Smith who's asking about a claim that hasn't moved that he's curious about. So I filter by Smith, and again, this is showing me P&J's set of work. So my view is already constrained to what I need to care about as a person who works with P&J as a customer. So I'll open one of these, and you can see from here, it's not just a view-only view of let me see what this, what the details of this work is, but someone else processes it. I can do the work from here. I can make changes to metadata that's on this task. I can see the status of this task. I can take action on it. So let's say this is a claim that it got stuck maybe in processing. I can immediately say, yes, Mr. Smith, I see this is stuck. I'm going to go ahead and send this to the adjuster for you so that this can move on to the next step. And maybe I add a bit of information here saying updating what was missing. Maybe I add a comment to here to say, to the adjuster, here's why I escalated this and how it works. I can add documents. I can see documents that are related to this. So really, this is giving me the ability to filter work. I can open work. I can process work, reassign work, and the value is, as a user, I have quick, easy, immediate access to work in the context that I care about. I'm not having to flip to a different screen. I'm not having to do a different sort or filter to find P&J relevant stuff. It's all here right from the context that I'm already working in. As a manager, I can configure and control how my work gets done. If I know that my users are constantly on these account screens, I can insert my work into that context. If I know that maybe they're working within Dynamics queues or within a different area of Dynamics or Salesforce, I can bring this same screen with the same ability to filter and show me work into whatever context my users typically live with. So summarizing, I really get to leverage the full features of my enterprise systems from my business applications. That this isn't a really small subset of what these underlying repositories can do. Whatever my content management repository can do, I can do from here. Whatever my business process management, my case or workflow systems can do, I'm exposing that up through my business applications and CRMs. I'm getting better user engagement. I have my information, my tasks in the same place, so I can work faster, I can be more efficient, I can solve problems immediately with customers. I'm able to make these better, faster decisions because let's say for this, as a user, I showed you I was able to send this to an adjuster. I have all the information I need for that. I have details from my CRM. I have documents that are related to that claim, no matter where they live in the repository. I can see all of the case information. Everything I need is here. So I can make the best possible decision and I can make it quickly. So let's look at our next and last section here. So I showed you tools for accelerating how you do work, for being responsive to this kind of digital transformation challenge in the realm of transacting. What if I don't want to just see work or maybe have better processing of it? What if I want to really understand what's going on? I want to know how my work, my cases, my processes flow. Where are my bottlenecks? I want to evolve and improve how I do work. I don't want to just tactically improve things, but I want to strategically understand what's happening and make deep, insightful changes. Unity as a platform provides something we call actionable analytics. Let's take a look at what that means. So again, I can show this from different places. I think I'll show it from the Power Apps application that we showed earlier. So again, in this hypothetical demo, I built a application for my underwriters, this kind of Power Apps based ad hoc application to accelerate how my underwriters do work. And let's say part of that is this ability to analyze claims and do claims analytics. So let's say I'm a manager of our claims department, and I understand that we are not meeting our SLA targets for the majority or for a large subset of the claims that we're processing. I want to understand why, and I want to fix it. I want a resolution to this. So I open my claims processing dashboard here, and I see an analytics view of my claims. Now I'm seeing both current claims that are being processed and historical information. So everything all the way back to, I think in this case, 4 or 5 years back or more, right up to the second processing. And this is showing me what's my SLA performance for these claims. Which claims were processed in time, and in some cases, why did they fail? What was the reason that we identified for why the SLA was breached? So what I can see immediately from this page is under SLA failure reason, by far the largest individual reason is missing information. So that's interesting. Let's drill down more into that. So I click on missing information. You can see that everything else refreshes on the screen. So now I'm looking at claims that failed because of missing information. If I scroll down a little bit, I see, okay, well, this is interesting. The claim types that were missing information, 75% of them were marine claims. Now I know if I kind of drill back out, I know that marine claims are a fairly small percentage, not small, but they're definitely not the biggest percentage of claims that I do. But I can see that they're overwhelmingly the ones that are missing information. And then if I look down a little further here, so I've got a nice heat map that gives me by state, by type of claim, and by amount, where are my claims that failed because of missing information. And immediately you can see where the problem is. Something's going on with my Florida marine claims, particularly the low value claims, but it seems like it's affecting other ones as well. So I'll go ahead and click on that one. So why is this special? So it's an analytics dashboard that's helping me narrow down, where my actual problem is happening. But it's not just telling me where it's happening, it's giving me the ability to really drill all the way down and solve it. So it's nice that I now know, okay, I need to make a phone call to the claims processing team in Florida, maybe send some emails, try and figure out what's going on. What if I can solve it right here though? So one of the things that you'll see in this dashboard is I have the actual list of claims that go into the data that's on the screen that's in the upper right here. And if you notice, as I was clicking on elements on the screen, it was constantly refreshing and showing me those claims that apply to what I'd selected. So now it's showing me just marine claims in Florida with a low account or amount category. And I can keep going. I can drill all the way into the claim. So let's actually open one of these claims and take a look at it. So when I open it, I can immediately see, yeah, it's missing information. The actual detail of the case that's here, it's missing critical things like insured name. I can go in and look at documents, history, and comments. I can actually process this claim from here. So I could go in here and see that maybe there's a form that we use for filling out marine claims that's badly designed, doesn't ask the right questions, and that's why we're having to escalate and go ask more questions for the customer, takes more time, the SLA gets breached. So really the aha moment, the light bulb goes off when I can drill all the way down to the bottom of my data. But it's not just understanding what's happening, I can fix it from here. I can enter information that's missing. I can reassign, I can multi-select 10 of these and reassign them to a particular team to get them out of the queue and process them more quickly. I can make changes to the template that's in here. Maybe I create a new version of this template so that now it's asking the right questions. So it's giving me the ability not just to understand what's happening, but to immediately identify the root cause and make changes to it. Now, all problems obviously won't be quite as simple, but honestly, this is not a simple problem that I'm describing here. This is something that really took diving all the way down to the detail level to do it, but I only had to do it from this one screen. So another reason why we think this is special, this isn't just a dashboard, it's a different way of processing work. So you can use this as me as maybe like a director level person. I'm interested in understanding kind of the analytics view, but I could also provide a view like this to my users and let them select work based on what they see from here. So maybe I see that there's a spike in SLA problems on a particular month or for a particular claim type. They can select that claim type and then process the tasks that are related to that. Or they can maybe select 2 or 3 claim types of a particular claim amount. It filters and shows me the intersection of those different facets, and then I process the work that's in there. So this isn't just a dashboard view of what's going on. It's really a different way of working. A lot of folks who work in that kind of like task processing with queues and in baskets are familiar with having a screen that has 15 different tabs on it, where each tab is a different slice and dice of my data. You could give your users one screen and say, instead of 15 tabs, you have 4 different visualizations where you can click on different components to understand the queue depth, what work is there, and how you process it. Now, users often ask, can I customize this, or is this just your out of the box claims dashboard? And the answer is, this is just an example that I put together fairly quickly for a demo. You can change what the visualizations are, what data feeds into this. You can use information not just for tasks, but for documents, records for particular governance use cases, data coming from other databases or data sources. So you can build different dashboards. They can be for different audiences. I could have I have just one, one of a couple dashboards here, but I could create a couple different dashboards and share them via security with different sets of users. So let's summarize, because I think this is really interesting stuff, and there's a lot that's under the covers here. So you get a view of tasks across your organization from one screen. You get both real-time data, understand what's happening today. You also get to see historical data back into the past, and you can dig into older claims, older documents, older data. You get an analytics dashboard, which gives you all this information you can use to derive insights, to understand what's happening, to make changes. You get a work processing page where I can actually process work. I can drill down, I can reassign, I can take action on things. And you're getting all of that from one single interface. This isn't 4 or 5 screens we're talking about. It's one screen, it's one context, and it's within your CRMs, your business applications in the location that makes the most sense to you. So that's what I have to show from a demo perspective. So Ray, I'm going to turn it back over to you to summarize and close out.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. So guys, hopefully you've seen through the last 30 minutes or so and gotten value from Andrew's presentation on Intellective Unity. Really does solve a lot of integration challenges organizations are looking at. Some of the examples: faster decisioning based on content, right? Customer outcomes with that 360 view is more enhanced because you're looking at the right information. The appropriate enterprise content, processes, and data that's important to your customer from a customer experience perspective. And as Andrew showed you, you're looking really at actionable analytics, information that you can action, make decisions on, and move forward with based on the use of your content, no matter the repository that you may have in your organization. I think most importantly, you're also looking at, with this solution, a rapid deployment at a lower cost, right? He talked about true low code, no code integration. I think that's key in today's world, being able to be rapid, shorten development cycles, time to market cycles, et cetera. So again, thank you for joining. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. But I think we do have, next slide, Andrew, a few Q&A questions. So I will turn it back to you for those.
Okay, so let me take a look at the questions we have. So what systems do you integrate with? It's a good question. So we have a current set of out-of-the-box connectors that you get just purchasing the Unity platform. You get a bunch of connectors that come with it. It covers most of the IBM content process stack, so FileNet, IBM Case Manager, BAW. So we support both the more legacy FileNet workflows and the more recent BAW workflows, CMOD, CM8. Really most of kind of what's modern in the IBM portfolio. We support collaborative content platforms like Box, SharePoint, Alfresco, really any ECM that supports CMIS. So a lot of what OpenText does, like Documentum, Nuxio, Laserfish. Basically, if it supports the CMIS protocol, we have a standard CMIS connector that can generally connect to that. But with these other ones, with like the IBM, Box, SharePoint, et cetera, a lot of times our connector is using the native API. It's getting the most acceleration that you can get from communicating directly with the repository the way that they want to be communicated with. One point that I'll make is we're continually adding new connectors to the platform, and we frequently will work with customers on working with either giving them the tools to build the connector or us building the connector to specific repositories. So if you have a legacy application that's not very well supported anymore, or if you built your own application and you have an API or a services layer, but no one else in the world has it, we can integrate with that. So I keep saying that Unity is a platform, and in this case, we have a connector architecture that lets you rapidly build a connector and then slot it into how we operate. So you can build a connector to a legacy financial system or to maybe a content management system that's homegrown. You can build just the connector to that, and then that integrates in with all the screens that you saw, all the capabilities that you saw, just using your repository as the data source for it. So good question. There's a set that we support out of the box, but really we're continually adding to that to summarize. Next question, how does Unity handle security? So a couple different answers. So we use the underlying repository security. So this is actually a question that we get all the time from customers, because it's security is on everyone's minds. I mentioned a use case earlier of like COVID data, making sure that individual data is secure, making sure that documents aren't exposed to users they shouldn't see. So Unity is using your investment in crafting security for your repositories in when it's retrieving and showing data to users. So I logged in. You didn't see me log into Dynamics or Salesforce, but you saw me log into Unity. In each of these instances, I'm operating as me, as my user, and then that user is used when accessing the different repositories. So if my user Andrew has rights to see some documents in FileNet but not others, and maybe I can't see any documents in Box, but I can see everything that's in Alfresco. If that's how you've created your security in your repositories, Unity will respect and will use that security. We also provide our own role-based security layer that you can use in addition if needed. It's useful for if you want to independently control how users see particular tabs or particular screens, so you can use that as well. We also integrate with various identity providers. Again, integration platforms, we have to be able to work with a lot of different security scenarios. So we do integrate with different LDAP and identity providers. Okay. Let's see. How does your licensing model work? Ray, I'll pass that one over to you to answer.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Pretty simple, guys. It's subscription-based pricing model that we offer, and it's based on the number of users in your organization. From an implementation perspective, it's really going to be dependent on your environment, the number of connectors Andrew talked about, repositories, et cetera, that you guys want to connect to ultimately. But again, with a further discussion, we'd be more than happy to discuss more intricately the pricing model with you.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Is analytics only for workflow, or can I use it for other things? So short answer, yes. I alluded to this in what I was saying earlier, but the example I gave was based around workflow and workflow processing, but that toolkit can be used for content, data, really anything that's in your repositories. We can interact with and build an analytics-based view for that. We use a high-performance analytics index that's integral in providing that kind of view, which actually provides benefits in other areas. So I didn't touch on this, but we are storing data in this index, and it allows us to do queries against the index rather than against your enterprise repositories. So let's say you have a really core repository it's already running at 80% capacity, it's integral to other use cases, and you're about to add another 1,000 users through this particular business application. Unity can deal with that scenario by having your users query against our index. We build the index using our crawler architecture, so we're pulling data from your systems, but we can do it off hours. We can do it in ways that are very limited in their impact. And then your high volume query hits are hitting our index, so it's putting load against this index, not against your core system. But anyway, so that index can be built with data that's coming from other areas. So I think I gave some examples like records. We're talking to a couple customers currently about having more detailed dashboards on governance. What's currently a record? What's not a record? When were things declared? When are they due for disposition? When is that disposition happening? That sort of thing. So you can combine data from different sources and use it to build your dashboard that meets your needs, or multiple dashboards that meet your needs. Looks like last one here. So what does an average deployment timeline look like? Short answer is it depends, but you heard me say a couple times, fast is the byword. So for example, like Unity for Dynamics, can be installed in less than a week. You can have a POC up and running really quickly. If your use case is POC, fairly standard, straightforward. For more complex integrations, we'll work through with you what a timeline looks like. So at the low end of the scale, we're designed to really get you up and running and start providing some value with a POC or an initial set of requirements for a department fast. but we scale up to large, complex, multi-department, many repository implementations, and we'll work with you to chart out a timeline for that. So again, it depends, but a general statement, we're talking weeks, not months or years for implementation. Because again, that's what you need in order to be agile, to be able to respond to these kinds of digital transformation needs. You need a platform that lets you react quickly. It doesn't help you if you're 8 months behind the curve and your users have already been dealing with it for 8 months. So I think that's all the questions that I see. Ray, do you want to take us home?
Yeah, sure. That next slide would be great. So guys, thank you again for joining. Hopefully this session has been valuable to you. If you'd like further information about what we discussed today, feel free to go to intellective.com, about us, contact us, reach out with any questions, follow-ups you may have. Again, thank you very much for your time and have a great afternoon.